Jay here for Sober Fellas. I just thought I'd do a video to talk about my sobriety, as today's the day I have reached 11 years clean and sober. Now, this isn't a video about me bragging or saying how proud of myself I am. This is a video for two reasons. One is to say a big thank you to everyone that has helped me in this journey or on this journey and get to 11 years sober, one day at a time, because I would not be able to be clean and sober if it wasn't for the support of my family and my friends. So I wanted to say a big thank you to them, because there's no doubt without the love and support I've had from my missus, from my kids, from my close friends and family as well, I'd be still out there using, either in the gutter, locked up, or even 6 feet under. I'm not trying to be melodramatic, but my using took me to some pretty dark places, and there's no telling where I would have ended up. So I wanted to use this opportunity to say a big thank you. And the second reason I wanted to do this video as well is just to tell you and everyone a little bit about how I got here, how I stay clean and sober, and how I've got to a stage where it's now been 11 years, which is a long time. I didn't think I'd ever get to 11 days. I'm not just saying that to, for comedic effect. Honestly, there was a time when I couldn't go a day without drinking or using. It's one of the reasons I had to stop. The only reason I know how to control my, drinking or using is abstinence, is no drink or drugs. And I've tried to control it in the past. I've tried to do them ones where I'll just have sniff on the weekend, or I'll just have a drink every other day, or whatever. Always ends in tears, always ends up with me being in some pretty gritty, minging places. So the only way I know how to stop is to stop completely, and that is what I've done, and that is what I've stuck with, and that is how I've got to the place now where I'm 11 years in. And during those 11 years, I've been able to start a family, see that family grow, have a career that I'm proud of and happy and enjoy. So I wouldn't be able to do all those things. I wouldn't be in the stage in my life where I'm actually pretty content if it wasn't for staying clean and sober. And I do say clean and sober as well, because sometimes people differentiate. They'll think sobriety and being clean is different, and I get it, because when you say clean, I think people sort of have the sort of connotations around drug use, which was obviously a big part of my using. Sobriety, a lot of people just associate that with alcohol, although the two are linked. I couldn't just go out and hit drugs. I couldn't just go out and have a drink. It all leads to the same thing. It all leads to me getting myself in trouble. It all leads to me ruining my life and my health and all the rest of it. I'm sure you're fully aware of where drinking and drug use can take you. Not everyone. Loads of my mates drink. Some of them might take the odd drug, but they are not addicts. They're not alcoholics. They're not like me. They're not someone who ends up in the sort of trouble and the mess that I used to consistently get myself in, and it just got worse and worse to the point where it was just completely unmanageable. So how did I get 11 years in? I haven't got the answers for everyone. I haven't. All I can tell you is about my experience, my journey. And I've done a lot of work with like Alcohol Change UK. I'm an ambassador for them. Sometimes I'll do a video and I'll talk about going to events sober or part of my journey or whatever, and some people, most of the comments will agree or go, yeah, but you'll have people in the comments sometimes will say, well, that wasn't the case for me, I did this or I did that, and that's fine. Everyone is different, and I tried lots of different ways to get sober, and none of them worked until recently. I will say recently, 11 years ago. So I did detox, I did rehab, I did 12-step, might have even spent a little time in a big house as well. None of that worked. I've spent time in hospital, didn't work, didn't stick. I'm not saying those ways can't help some people. Obviously 12-step, I know a lot of people do 12-step programs, whether that's NA, AA, CA, however that may be, and it works for them. So I'm not criticising or questioning that, and if that is something that you're doing and it's working for you, then stick with it. I wholeheartedly believe that. I just got to tell you about my journey. You might relate to it, you might get something from it, you might not, but I think it's important to be honest, and that is one of my main points, is be honest. That's the first thing I'd say. If you're struggling with your drinking or you're taking too many drugs, be honest about that. Be honest with yourself and be honest with those around you. If you're honest with the people around you and they care about you and they love you, they will be supportive. If they don't, if they say to you, well, just carry on drinking, carry on using, you'll be all right, stop being a mad, they haven't got your best interests at heart. So you need to be honest. You need to let people know where you're at. If you think to yourself, I can't carry on like this, I've got a problem, I've got an issue, be honest about it. They might even be telling you that anyway. I had loads of friends and family telling me I had an issue long before I realised I did, or was willing to admit that I did. So I think that is the first thing to be, is just to be honest about it, and just look at some of the behaviours you do, look at the environments you put yourself in, ask yourself, are you doing everything you can to keep yourself safe? Because sometimes you can be hanging around with people who are using drugs all the time, or you can be in situations where there's a lot of drug use or a lot of drinking going on, and that can be unhealthy, especially early on in recovery or early on when you just sort of cutting down or quitting drink or drugs. Putting yourself in certain situations can be a bad idea. Now, I've said in the past, just because you've quit, or I've quit drinking drugs, I should say, doesn't mean that I can't go to things or do things that I used to do. I can still go to the football, I can still go to gigs if I want to, I can still go to the pub with my friends if I needed to and I want to. But I think especially early on in recovery, early on when you've just got clean, it's important to keep yourself safe. So it might not be the best idea to necessarily put yourself in situations where there is a lot of drinking going on or drug taking going on. I mean, you'd like to avoid that pretty much as often as you can, to be honest. But certainly early days, you don't want to risk it by putting yourself into many difficult situations. So I say, be honest, let your friends know what's going on for you, have that support network around you. Reach out to other people who've been in the situation as well. That's another one, but I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, be careful about your environment, be careful about some of the situations you put yourself in. Reaching out to people. There's loads of people out there who will have been in a similar situation to yourself. There's people that have drink and drug problems, the people that are alcoholics, people that are drug addicts who have gotten clean, who have gotten sober, who may be able to give you some advice, who may be able just to chat to you, just listen to you, who can, understand what you're going through. That mattered to me, that. I remember the first time I tried to get clean, I've spoken about this a few times, I remember sort of talking to counsellors and people like that who weren't addicts, weren't alcoholics, didn't know what I was going through. And that's not to say they didn't have the heart in the right place and they didn't have some good ideas, but more often than not, I was a bit reluctant to listen to what they had to say because I thought, you don't know what it's like for me, you can't relate. And some of the ideas and the methods that they tried to use as well, in retrospect, in hindsight, were just a bit ridiculous. There was one, I remember the drinking drugs diary, I've spoken about this, where I went to one counsellor and it was like you fill in your drink diary and your drugs diary every day, and then you try and cut down every day. And I used to go down on a Friday, chat to them, get this diary, go away. Next Friday, go back, and on the way there, I'd be writing, I'd be filling it out, and I'd be like, Monday I had, 15 drinks and however many drugs. Tuesday I had 14 drinks. Wednesday I had 13 drinks. Thursday I had 10 drinks, whatever. Writing it down like I was cutting down every day, and then I'd hand it into them. They look at it and they go, oh yeah, you're doing really well. And I'd leave there thinking, oh yeah, I'm doing really well. I wasn't, I was lying. But that was one of the methods that I tried in inverted commas, to use to get clean. So I think reaching out to people can help. Reaching out to people who know what you've been through, going through what you've gone through or are going through, that is a massive help as well. Just to have that sort of person in your life who can relate to it. They can sort of share their experiences with you, and they can maybe give you tips or advice, or just listen to what you're going through. Just be someone who can listen to you without judging you as well, because that's always a big thing. Sometimes the addict in us or the alcoholic in us can say to us, don't speak to someone, don't reach out, don't tell someone something, they won't want to know, they won't care about you, and that's the voice you shouldn't be listening to. So I do think that you should be honest, be careful of your environment, especially early days. I'm not saying you can't go to and do the things you want to do, I've always done that, but you just got to be careful, especially early on in recovery. And also reaching out to people too, that's another reason, another thing to do. Another one as well that I think has been a big part of my sort of last 11 years is whenever I've struggled, whenever there's been a situation where if I am out and I do feel like I'm not enjoying myself or everyone's getting on it and it's doing me head in, then I'll go home. You don't have to white knuckle it. I've spoken about this before. Don't feel like you have to force yourself to stick around and be in a situation you don't want to be. Because in the past I've tried to do that and it's just counterproductive, man. If you're out and it's like, you know what, I'm done now, go home. I used to stay out all the time. I never wanted to go home, but that was because I was drinking and using drugs. It's not the case anymore. So if you go into a situation or you're going out on an event or whatever, could be anything, a party, an anniversary, a meal, a night out with the lads, whatever it is, a gig, and you get to that point where you've had enough, just go home. That's it. You don't need to sort of force the issue. And just always as well, another thing I think is to sort of remind yourself, when you tell people that you're quitting, when you have been through those conversations, a lot of people, the people that care about you, they'll be mad, happy and relieved because they're the ones that have had to suffer. They're the ones that suffered with me with my drinking and using drugs. And I used to think, they're not going to like me, they're not going to want to hang around me if I'm stop drinking and drugs, taking drugs. All my mates were relieved, they were glad, because half the time they used to have to babysit me, so you'll be surprised at the reaction you get. And I think that's a big thing as well. Sometimes you can convince yourself, oh, you know what, I can't do this, or I can't tell them that, or they won't like me anymore. It's the opposite. They'll be like relieved. If they've seen what drinking drugs has done to you, then they're probably more likely going to be like, you know what, good. That's what all my friends and family said. The ones that knew me, they knew I had an issue. They knew I needed to quit. They knew it wasn't doing me any favours. And they were there for me when I did. And that matters, man. It does. You know, I said at the beginning of this video, I wouldn't be here, without the support of my friends and my family, of course. And that's where I have, and that's what I've got. And you can't do it on your own. And don't try and do it on your own. You don't need to do it on your own. There's loads of support out there, whether that's, you know, professional help or just reaching out to your friends. And I speak to some people as well. They message me on Instagram or socials or whatever, and they'll say, you know, I feel like I'm on my own. You're never on your own. You can always reach out to people that you might not even know that well, that people that have podcasts or are in the public eye as being part of addiction. Loads of those people will reach out to you if you reach out to them. Loads of those people that run, like, I know it sounds a bit daft, and it won't, people who've got a podcast on addiction. I know people that comment on those and have built up a little bit of a community just by sharing comments with each other on certain addiction and sobriety podcasts, reaching out to people that they know or in the public eye who can help them. Not saying that every single person in the public eye is going to reply to you. They might not, but I know I always try and do, and I can't be the only one. I know I'm not saying I'm sort of big in the game or anything like that, but whenever I get a message of someone who's going through addiction, going through alcoholism, and they reach out to me, I'll always try and message them back. Might not be straight away, but I'll always try and reach out to them and reply. And there's lots more other people that do that as well. I'm not the only one. So don't feel like you're on your own. That is a massive thing as well. This disease of addiction, wants us on our own, and it's important, but don't let it. So don't let anyone convince you that you're on your own and you've got to go through this without any help of support or off anyone, because you don't, no matter what your situation is. There's always going to be help as well. And don't let anyone convince you too that if you stop drinking and taking drugs, you're not going to be able to enjoy yourself. Of course you can, man. I think I enjoyed myself for the last 11 years, and I'm a United fan. So I've been through some tough times supporting my football club, but I've had the best time of my life over the last 11 years. My life just got better and better, and that is invariably the case for everyone who's struggling with addiction, who can, you know, get clean. Your life gets better. So many things open up to you. There's other things you can do with yourself that you never thought you'd be able to do. I never thought I'd be able to raise a family, and now I do. I never thought I'd be able to go on trips, go away, go abroad and enjoy myself like the way I do. Never thought I'd be able to just enjoy spending time with myself or with those around me the way that I do without a drink and drug. It's amazing. And I remember it all. I used to wake up and I didn't know what I'd been doing and where I'd been. Half the time I used to wake up in some right states, in places I didn't even know where I was. And that's all out the window. So it opens up so many opportunities for you as well. So don't ever let anyone convince you that this is it now. You're going to be bored, or you're not going to be able to enjoy yourself. You're not going to be able to do the things that you've always wanted to do. The opposite is true. Taking drugs and drinking to the point where you don't know what you're doing, it stops us having the life we want to have. It tans all your money, it kills all your brain cells, it takes away, pushes those away from you that really care about you. It just does the opposite of what you want it to do. So when you stop, you'll actually find that the world opens up to you, man. I know that might sound a little bit cheesy and corny, but it's true, and I speak from first-hand experience. So I haven't got all the answers. I haven't got the sort of the formula to everything being all right, but what I can tell you is if it works for me, if I can get clean, you can, anyone can, because I was a mess. I was a mess for years, man, drinking and taking all sorts for so many years, and I never thought I'd get to a place where I'd be able to get clean and sober. I never thought I'd get to a place where I'd be able to raise a family, own a business, run a business, and get over a decade, over 11 years clean. Didn't think that was for me. Didn't think that was ever going to happen. Went back to uni. Well, I went back to college when I was sober, first time round. Then went to uni. Then, during the last few years, gone back to uni, got a master's degree, met new people, tried new things, just had a life that I've always dreamed of, and it's possible for anyone. And I mean that it is. Doesn't matter what your situation, man, it's never too late. Just take it one day at a time. Start today if you're struggling. If you need to reach out, you know you can reach out. You can reach out in the comments, you can message us. You know we'll always try and reply to you as soon as we can. Because this is one of the reasons we wanted to do this podcast. So it used to be Scotty and Motty, this channel, then we turned it to Sober Fellas, because me and Scotty both had our issues in the past around drinking drugs, and we wanted to have that conversation, wanted to speak to other people about those conversations as well. That's why we started having guests on. We're going to have even more guests on from that community, because there is a community out there of people who have a difficult relationship with drinking drugs, and we want to embrace that and want to sort of amplify that as well, to let you know you are part of that family, and there's lots of us as well, and we're growing and we're getting stronger, and so are you. So I'm going to leave it there. Big thank you to everyone who's messaged me and reached out to me about today and the 11 years and all the rest of it. But it's not just about a clean time, birthdays, if you will. It's just about enjoying my life and being able to do the things I want to do. And thanks for staying sober and clean, I'm able to. And a big thank you to you as well, because I wouldn't be here without you lot. Never mind my friends and family, all you lot as well have helped me get here. So I appreciate you all. I've been Jay. This has been a little message from Sober Fellas. Thanks for watching.